Start the meeting at 6:01, I believe it said. It's hard to see from this angle. Meeting's called to order, and the board met in closed session and had one item, superintendent's evaluation. And we don't vote on this, right? We just say what it is.
Right.
Okay, so the superintendent received a METS, as opposed to did not meet a satisfactory evaluation. It's pretty straightforward. What a day. Sounds so mediocre, but really, he does a fabulous job. All right, so here I am with the agenda in front of you. Sorry, guys, I'm a little disruptive. No, that's okay. More notes. I believe the next thing is if we would like to do the
Please stand for the pledge. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just, in recognition of this free speech board business agenda item, welcoming all and noting that saying the Pledge of Allegiance is not a requirement to participate in the business of this board. If you do not say the pledge for religious, political, social, or personal reasons, you are most welcome here as an equal participant in the business of this public school board.
Thank you, Trustee Lee. Announcement of action taken in closed session, and I apologize, I did this backwards. Item number 8, adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
A motion to adopt the agenda.
Mrs. Pope. Do we have a second? Adopt. Thank you, Mr. Bruno. Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson? Aye. Mrs. Pope?
Aye.
And this is Mr. Bruno?
Aye.
Mrs. Bruno. And the chair votes aye. Sorry, I'm losing my voice tonight. Okay, organizational reports. Do we have anyone here from CUTA or CSBA?
So Marie Huggins is here with us tonight, but Miss Vanessa would not be with us tonight.
Okay, take it away, Miss Marie Huggins.
Thank you. Marie Huggins, Classified Union President. First, I'd like to say kudos to the admin, school board, and employees for working together to navigate the obstacles of the pandemic and embrace the new opportunities to safely serve our families and community. I would like to welcome all the new employees and congratulate those who have taken on new positions or promotions. Welcome to Richard as our new Director of Maintenance and Operations, and Kevin, the Maintenance and Operations Supervisor. And thank you so much, Craig, for your many years of service to the Center family. Wishing you all the very best as you begin your next adventure. We have been enriched by having the opportunity to work with you. And have a great summer, everyone.
Thank you so much.
You do the same, Miss Marie. Thank you.
Okay, item 10, facilities update, and we have a Mr. Deason here. And I'm just saying, this is final countdown.
All right.
Is this your last update?
It is.
No, yesterday was your last day.
I'll be updating Richard though quite a bit in the next couple of So a couple things on the full day kindergarten. Just a few things to finish. The wrought iron fencing, you may notice when you drive by Oak Hill, it is not quite complete. We had a lot of trouble with the holes, digging the holes. There's a lot of utilities under there, so we had to come up with a new way to bolt the wrought iron fence to the retaining wall, and we had to get that approved by DSA. So it took a little while, but it should be done this week. I'm happy to report that. And then they'll also be installing, in 2 weeks, they'll be installing the guardrails that are on the east side and the north side of the sidewalks that kind of have the drop off. And a guardrail is different than a hand railing because a guardrail has stuff in between, so the little kindergartners can't fall between the top and bottom rail and fall out, so they will be safe. And then we are going to be putting together a photo shoot for that project because the architect and the contractors are so proud that they will use it for advertising purposes, but we'll also be able to use it as promoting some of our 21st century classrooms in our kindergarten program. So that'll happen, I think, on June 28th, I believe. For the rec fortune site, plans are into DSA. There's a 17-week turnaround. There's 2 phases that went into DSA so that we could get the civil engineering piece, the grading piece, back sooner than later because they're hoping to start the grading of the property in early September so that we can get ahead of the weather. And when it does rain, we'll have it all set so the water all doesn't puddle up and then get it as wet so we can jump in and start construction in spring of 2022. And then Clark and Sullivan is our lease-back contractor doing the Rex Fortune Elementary School. And they're going to be bidding out their subs. So they own all the subs when you do a lease-back. So they're bidding out all of their subs, their electrical, their plumbing, everyone who's actually going to be building the school on June 28th as well. So we'll know who all the players will be together so we can start looking over the plans and let them kind of tear them apart and decide if the plumbing looks doable and all that stuff. So we have very few change orders along the way. And then, like I told you last week, the greatest maximum price of the construction contract will come to you guys the first board meeting in August. And then after that board meeting, Clark and Sullivan and civil folks are going to start grading. The career technical ed program, we're getting a little bit closer to removing those working portables, some of which are in the way and some of which are just going to create some space for future high school classrooms that will be built. I'm still hoping that they're gone before I am, but it's going to be close. One's gone already, but we got the rest to go. And then we did work on, we had a meeting with the low voltage folks and, for that program, because we're getting so down into the details right now. We need to know where we need the HDMI outlets and where we need the power for the TVs and all that stuff. So we're just finalizing that last little piece for the cameras and this and that for our July 2nd submittal to DSM. So those plans are looking really good as well. And then on the replacement of HVAC that I talked to you about last time, we did have a meeting with CPM and Capital Engineering. And we started looking through our HVAC units and figuring out which ones would be the lowest hanging fruit to replace to improve the indoor air quality for students and also save us money based on maintenance and or electrical usage. So we're hoping to have that plan put together so that Richard can take it and run and get a bunch of air conditioners replaced next summer.
Do you know how many?
Not as many as I thought. It's about, we're looking at HVAC right now at North Country and the high school, and they're called mini splits. And it's kind of like the ones you see in a hotel. You have a piece of inside the classroom that shoots out the cold air, and then you have a piece hanging on the wall outside that's the condenser. And those are about $3,000 installed. I'm sorry, they're about 30 grand installed. But we have to,
Classroom?
yeah, and the problem is those type of air conditioner units don't bring in enough outside air, which is one of the reasons that we brought them up first. So we have to get a different kind of unit to put in those rooms, and that's why they're more expensive. So we're taking out that type of split unit, and then we're putting in a regular air conditioning unit where you put the furnace piece on the inside in an enclosed closet, and then the air conditioner piece goes on the outside of the classroom. So
Those are so easy to still. Is there any precautions to be taken for that?
Luckily, copper prices are down right now. But yeah, we're still in the planning stages, but you know, you can put cages around them, and different things to help to protect it, but nothing is 100%.
But luckily with those units, I don't think we've lost a single one of those,
No.
but I'll probably just jinxed us. But it's not those units that we were the easiest to get at. But there is no perfect solution. If people want them, copper prices are up, they will get them.
I know, 50 years ago, they were still about the walls of houses. Imagine what it is now.
But I think it's going to be a good bang for the buck for indoor air quality in the district. So it's definitely worth starting there and then moving forward from there. So that's all I have. Unless you have any questions.
They're gonna be missed.
That's not a question. Thank you.
I know,
All right.
statement. Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Thank you so
You've
much.
done a great job for us, Craig.
Yeah, you can ask a question, absolutely.
So some of the elementary schools have classrooms that are just atrocious. I volunteered regularly at Oak Hill, and the first graders' classrooms are awful. Have those been fixed?
As far as
Have the ones that, I mean, there was,
Air conditioning units?
when I was volunteering in the first grade classrooms consistently, the teachers had reoccurring problems that lasted the entire year. I'm curious, have all of the ones that were broken been replaced or fixed?
A work order process for that. Yeah.
I know they told me that all year that year.
And we do prioritize and plug away, and classrooms are a priority. There are a lot of cogs that move to determine how quickly we can replace something. Sometimes what happens is something is replaced and fixed, and then something else goes wrong. And
So
then
we didn't replace or fix the ones that were already in the classrooms that we're maintaining, and before we put new ones in?
we go through a process as far as how much we have to put into a unit. Sometimes if a coil goes out, which is the copper part that the freon goes to cool things down. A lot of times if it's an older unit, it's better to replace it than to spend the money to replace the coil.
I think the question you're asking is, we're putting in new ones, and your question is, did we fix the ones that were broken first? So the ones he's
Yes.
referring to have not been replaced yet. That's a plan we're working on. But would you say, Craig, that we have a process to fix the ones that are currently, I'm not aware of any aren't working now, or ones that are more troubled?
I would have to visit the classroom again. It's been a couple of years, but I know that you had a recurring problem in a core of rooms where one was receiving extra air and the students were freezing all day, and you have some where they weren't getting any air at all.
Right.
So I'm just, before you open new facilities, are your old facilities working appropriately would be a huge concern for a person like me,
Right.
a parent.
And Craig,
And maybe I'm not asking the right person, I don't know.
No, you're.
You
that's great.
absolutely are.
But Craig's idea was, ones that are most problematic are gonna also get on that list before we replace. There's a hierarchy of it, so the process that we use, we'll be looking at the ones that are chronically broken, things like that, correct?
Correct, but we also replace units when they're chronically broken, so that.
That didn't occur that year that this was a problem, so I'm just
Right.
filing through my old experiences at the schools and making sure that the students who are already attending those classes, because this is such a concern, the HVA systems for the students coming back, that the ones that are currently in there, and the teachers need to be comfortable when they're teaching. It's a huge concern for
Good
me.
point.
Absolutely.
Can I just say, so the process that's in place right now is that they have, a duration, and then they also have the maintenance schedule. And like Mr. Lee was saying, they're replaced on a recurring basis, right? But the ones that they're talking about replacing right now are part of those that are currently in use and are on the rotation to be replaced due to their chronic issues. So,
But
and
I think what
HVAC has been a huge issue for a number of us on the board, and so we're really pushing hard to make sure that those are taken care of with as much of the funding as we can spare.
And we do have maintenance money to do that, so, we have money that we can do it when we need to, so sometimes there's a tricky one, or a tricky two, but out of the 614 that we have,
I may have just been
you-
experiencing the one,
you might have
maintenance
got
came
unlucky.
like 3 times that year and it
Oh, wow.
still wasn't fixed by the end of the year,
And
so.
those are frustrating ones for us too, and especially for my folks that are fixing them and replacing them, because, they can probably tell you exactly the one that it is.
I think I could.
But I can't
probably
off the
still
top of
give
my
you a
head.
problem.
Mr. Deason, before.
What site were you from?
Okay.
Oak Hill.
Mr. Deason, before you leave June 30th,
Mhm.
could you happen to take a look at Oak Hill's first grade quad and see if they have been fixed or look through your paperwork?
Yeah, no, I can look at what we have in the work order system, and I can also, if I find out what room it is, I can go
I
there
can-
personally and
I
check
can
it
give
out.
that to you.
So,
privately.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And you're up next as well. So
Okay.
moving on to item number 11, comments from the audience regarding items not on the agenda. And I apologize in advance. I'm probably going to murder your name.
That's okay, I'm used to that.
Marilyn Truex.
That is correct.
Got it. Yay.
Okay, well, I've introduced myself. I'm Marilyn Truex. I am a mother of 2 boys that attend Oak Hill currently. I've been a volunteer since 2015 and I love the school. I've loved every experience that I've had there, minus the small HVAC problem, which was not attributed to anyone here. I am here today, first to thank you for having me in front of you. I've been looking forward to this for a few meetings now. I was the person that emailed in last week. I was unaware that the meetings were open to the public. And I just want to make you aware that it still shows on your agenda that the public isn't allowed in here. So you may want to make an adjustment to that, at least the one that I pulled off the web. Doesn't say that we're allowed to be here. So that might have a little bit to do with the lack of participation of.
I think we're still getting public comments via emails though, right?
We're doing both, but I think we put the address on, but we can make a little note on there that public is welcome, because they certainly are.
Yeah.
I think that probably in the past, it was that the public obviously was welcome and was included. And we never there was no specific language because there was no alternative. So
Yeah, I don't know when you guys opened
Good
back up, but I would have loved the opportunity to come and speak with you and also meet the principal for Oak Hill last week. I didn't even realize that they were here. I realize now it's the vice principal, so that's not a big deal. But I just would have appreciated the opportunity to be here in front of you. I'm here today to speak about masks. Our children in masks is I don't want to say complaint, but it is my issue. I did call Oak Hill today to try to find out if the policy was changing or what was going to occur with that in the future, and I was not able to get a hold of anyone. I did attend the Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday, and I received some information from the California Department of Health I'd like to share with you. I have a printout here of the cases, the deaths, and the rates showing that our children do not belong in masks. The Orange County School Board did make the decision this week to unmask their children, and I would love to implore you all to do the same for our children. They are suffering in these masks, as you know, we're in heat wave this week, and it's very discomforting for those kids to be in these masks. Washington Post also released the set of criteria that the Orange County Board used to open that up for people to have that option. 3 of those things that I found were good to present to you were that K through 12 present the lowest risk of infection and death. Social distancing and reduced class sizes were not necessary. These were the board's findings. The second thing I thought was important were mask requirements make it difficult, if not impossible, to implement in the schools. And they are not based on science. They're harmful and not recommended for children in K through 12. They also cause bacterial infections, pneumonia, staph infections. These are all things. I have teenagers also in San Juan Unified School District, and the difference in their skin is really bad. I have to remind them every single day to wash their faces extra because they're coming home with acne and things that they did not have before. And the last thing I thought it was important to present is that reopening of public education should be voluntary. Guidelines set forth are not laws, they're just guidelines. The parents, not the government, are in the best position to decide what's best for our kids. That's all. I thank you, and I hope that you all would advocate for our kids in this. And I have a printout, it's a little bit fuzzy, but it's the numbers from the health department that they put out just yesterday.
Thank you
And
very
we
much.
can take it from
And
around
just-
outside.
Just to note that because this was not agendized, the board is not allowed to discuss it, but thank you for the comments.
Is there a way that I can reach out to you for some type of resolution to this I've emailed in the past and I haven't gotten a response, so I'm trying to find the best way.
Us?
Yeah,
Through your public comment section in the agenda.
okay.
So online also is all of the board's emails, so you could reach them through that to advocate to them. I believe my direct email is on there too, so if you want to communicate with me, I can forward it to them. But if you want to share information, you can certainly go one-to-one with them. And I will say, so thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate
There's
it.
also, if you would be so inclined to do so, there is an article from America's Frontline Doctors that they put out regarding the K through 12 in masks and vaccines, which will be coming up shortly, I know. I think you all should read it. They've sent it to the administration and I think you all should read it.
Thank you very much. When you email us, please be aware that we all can't email you back because it would be a violation of Brown Act, but the president can email you back. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Dredd. Ms. Dredd. Okay, having no further public comments, we'll move on to item number 12, board and superintendent reports. Let's start with Dr. Lee.
Okay, all right, welcome everybody. I would like to devote my board report this month to recognizing that June is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, or LGBTQ plus Pride Month. I'm so happy to be here as we strive to become a more inclusive district, not just in our legally mandated adopted policies, but also in our daily interactions with students and communities. In 1969, in New York at the Stonewall Inn, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning people rose up to resist the persecution, terror, and harassment that they were commonly subjected to in their daily lives and to demand full equality, a struggle that continues today. The first gay pride parade was held in New York, June 28, 1970, 1 year after the Stonewall uprisings in Manhattan. Progress around civic equity moved slowly. And so it wasn't until 30 years later in 1999 when President Clinton declared June as National Pride Month. As President Clinton noted then in his proclamation for Gay and Lesbian Pride Month, we cannot achieve true tolerance merely through legislation. We must change hearts and minds as well. Our greatest hope for a just society is to teach our children to respect one another, to appreciate differences, and to recognize the fundamental values that we hold in common. In 2011, President Barack Obama expanded Pride Month to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Pride Month. And just this year, in 2021, President Joe Biden recognized June as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer Pride Month. Also in this year, in 2021, nearby here in the city of Lodi, the first Pride Festival ever was held for that city, its first ever. So we as a nation have made great strides, but we also have so much further to go to accelerate acceptance and to stamp out violence and discrimination against LGBTQ plus people in our communities, to support equal rights by promoting a culture where LGBTQ plus people are embraced and respected. This is why I recognize Pride Month and why myself and others continue to raise awareness and to stand in opposition to the spikes in violence against transgender people of color in particular. And also why we reject the exclusion, bullying, and harassment that our young people who are gender diverse face in our schools, and that also leave our LGBTQ students at disproportionate risk for self-harm and suicide. This is why I recognize Pride Month, to celebrate the contributions, achievements, and sacrifices that LGBTQ plus people have made to enrich all of our lives and to realize the American dream of freedom and equality. I appreciate our educators that are embracing representation and inclusion in our history, social science, and health education frameworks. I applaud our teachers that work with local organizations and national organizations like the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network to raise awareness at our local school sites, creating safe spaces for all students, faculty, and staff in our schools by establishing safe zones, gay straight alliances, and student clubs for LGBTQ plus youth so that they too have a place to belong, free from exclusion and discrimination. I truly appreciate the way our Family Resource Center works to create welcoming and inviting resources to validate and embrace the diverse family types that are in our community. Your work means so much to so many marginalized and pushed out students and families. Be emboldened and stay the course, because the work you do may be more life-affirming and indeed life-saving than you could ever possibly know. Thank you for making classrooms safer for LGBTQ plus students and students with LGBTQ plus parents and family members, and for making our classrooms and communities safe and inclusive for all of us here in the Center family. Systems of oppression really do negatively impact all of our lives in profound and pervasive ways. When one group is not free, none are truly free. Thank you for not stopping until there is acceptance, equality, liberty, and justice for every single person, until all really does mean all. And in that spirit, happy Pride Month to everyone. And I look forward to catching up with you all at my next office hours meeting, July 5th from 4 to 5 on Zoom. Drop in anytime. The link's on our board page, and stay safe and be well, and hope to talk to you all soon.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Mrs. Anderson.
I would like to just say a great, big, huge thank you to Craig for being with the district, 26?
36
years. You have been a dedicated, hardworking employee that everyone could go to and everyone knew to get the job done. I don't know how to tell you or the words to say what an outstanding employee you've been. And we're gonna miss you. Everybody's gonna miss you. It's fun to pick on you. I wish you weren't going. I really do. But I understand you want some time, and life's without getting some fun time too. So I hope you enjoy your years away and do some things that you've been wanting to do for a long time. You deserve them. You filled in a position that we needed desperately at the time, and you took over several positions at the time and handled it beautifully, and have done so ever since. So thank you for that. Thank you for your dedication to your job, and we're gonna miss you. Enjoy your retirement.
Okay, should I skip you for a moment?
No,
Okay,
it's so
Mrs.
bad.
Pope.
Because I did not do this in May, I would like to congratulate the seniors of McClellan High School, Center High School, the adult ed, and also the students of Riles Middle School that were promoted to the 9th grade. This year, each site did something different. McClellan had their graduation on their school grounds. Fortunately, the weather was gorgeous, and as always, that event is very emotional. Center High School could accommodate all 280-ish something students in their facility, where their students on the football field and parents were in the stands. So that was very nice. And then Riles had 2 promotions, one at 9 and one at 12, to accommodate everybody there. So congratulations to all, a job well done. Briefly, I would like to make a comment about our facilities and grounds. I'm happy that our community members are utilizing our facility grounds for their mental health and physical health. It's nice to see people out and about, but please be cognizant of your actions. Pick up your trash, just please don't drop it on the ground. Also pick up your dog mess because that's also a hindrance to our groundskeepers. And also, please keep your dogs on leashes. We do have summer school right now, and we do have staff on presence that work as a full-time employees, and this is a health hazard for our students and employees. And also, our groundskeepers work at each site about average once a week, so trash and dog feces can accumulate, and it's a lot of work for them. Please continue your mental health and physical health at our sites because they are beautiful. Like workshop, it was a new board workshop, and I was so excited to see all of us experiencing this event. It brought us together, and I'm really excited that we can all be together soon in person and we can work well as a team. Lastly, not lastly, but I'd also like to say, and I'm going to read this because I actually wrote a blurb. I would like you to join me in thanking those unsung heroes who linger behind the scenes. These are the parents who staff our booths at back to school night, who organize events, or perhaps comb your child's hair right before school photos. These groups are the backbone of support for our schools. They are our PTAs, our PTOs, and our boosters. Please join me in thanking all of those who work for these organizations that parents, staff, and administration get involved. Be a member of your local parent organization. They work so hard. So please, thank I'm excited to work with you on the facilities committee. It's one of the things that I really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to working with you. And then congratulations to Kevin, who is going to be our supervisor for maintenance and operations. Lastly, everybody have a great summer. Rejuvenate, get those wiggles out, have fun with your families. I'll see you in August. That's my board report.
Thank you. Mr. Bruno.
I actually had some thoughts very similar to what Ms. Book said. I got to attend the graduation ceremonies for the first time as a board member, and I felt it was really moving, especially considering what all those students went through with distance learning. And I was really impressed by all of them. I was very moved by attending those graduations. And it got me thinking, it's not just the graduating students and the 8th graders being promoted who do this, it's all of the students at all grade levels. It's the teachers, the principals, all of the staff, everyone who worked hard. And I just want to say how much I appreciate everything that everyone was doing. Custodians having to keep everything clean, the Craig and facilities team just doing all kinds of things. I just want to take a moment to say how much I appreciate this district. I feel like, I came into the board in September and I feel like I've been very welcomed at all levels. I feel like this district really works together quite well. I think we have a great relationship between the board, the administration, the unions, and really focus on putting the students first, and it's really good to see. Craig, I want to take a moment. I haven't known you as long as they have, but you will be missed. but at the same time, I'm really happy for you. So it's bittersweet. Richard, welcome. I'm sure you're going to be, we'll be as fond of you in no time. And I also want to take a moment to thank Eugene for all the hard work that he does, keeping us up and running. Superintendent Blair is absolutely wonderful every time I have something. But most of all, I want to thank Carol. Seems to keep everyone else doing what they need to do. And I want you to know how appreciated you are. Thank you.
Very much so, Carol.
That's my voice.
Very nice part. Scott, I'm gonna let you go last. Okay.
Works for me.
We'll let you do that. All right, so, I'll get to you in a minute. I gotta
Work up to it.
work up to it, yeah. So I finished Masters in Governance courses, made 5. Wasn't able to report on it last time, we didn't have board report, so that was fun and interesting. Looking forward to implementing a lot of the things that I learned. I think these guys probably want me to take it down a few notches because I'm like, hey, we should do this and we should do that and we should go do this and we should have this thing. And they're like, whoa. So there's a little bit of enthusiasm. I'll try and temper it a little bit, but I think it'll be really good for the board to just start, refreshing some of the things that they've done over the years and just, start them up again. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I also attended the graduations, all of the graduations, which was fabulous. I didn't cry too terribly much, but as always, McClellan, boy, that gets you. McClellan really gets you. When they start handing the roses out, it's moving, absolutely. And then, what else did we do this month? That was it, right? I mean, just the session on a lot of planning in place. And then lastly, I don't know, most everybody out there probably in internet land probably doesn't know this, but I worked for maintenance and operations for many years, not here, but in another district. And it was the best job of my life other than the one I have now. And I have to say that Craig Deason is the best of the best when it comes to doing facilities management. I know you're gonna be great, but man, every time we turn around, he's getting a free bus, he's getting free grants, he's getting free labor to install brand new, minor duty efficiency stuff. He's doing plans, he's doing 1,000 things at one time and never once seems to even, blood pressure never goes up. I don't know. I talked to his doctor, but he just does it. And it's great, the deferred maintenance plan, the everything. Whenever I ask for anything, he's got it right there at the tip of his fingers. The consultancy work that we did with the district-wide sweep where we know every piece of equipment on this district that needs to be replaced is just phenomenal. I mean, I could go on for days. The work that he's done. Whoever gets to follow behind you is lucky in the sense that everything is in such great order, and unfortunate in the sense that they have big shoes to fill. So sadly, I will not be able to, I'm leaving town this evening. So I'm saying goodbye to you now. I will miss you tremendously.
And she's crying again.
Always, but yeah, you just have always been great.
And I just got one comment I want to make because, I appreciate my time here, but without the people around you, it's impossible to do. So, whether it's, finding someone to install free lighting or you need to have a bus guy that'll help you fill out the application, and you got to have great grounds guys and great maintenance guys, and great warehouse guys, and great vendors that'll bend over backwards for you. So, it's amazing the support over the years that I've gotten from many different people. And, my wife said you make your own luck, but I'll take luck over being great anytime. So, thank you.
You may get more than one phone call from desperate people.
All right, that's my report, Mr. Leader.
So, and
Oh, have a great summer, sorry, everybody.
And I did promise Craig that we wouldn't talk about this.
Yeah.
He made me
I
swear, he
didn't
made
promise.
I know Kelly emailed me. But on that same, I just have to say, as Craig just said, that you surround yourself with great people. And that's one of the challenges I'll have, is I've been surrounded by him, very helpful to me. I won't tell the board all the times. I've gone into his office and, oh my gosh, how are we gonna make this one? And together we planned through it, and we could write a book, but we won't write a book because no one will believe our book. But anyway, and Craig and I've known Craig for years, probably the 36 years he's been with the district, I've known him. And every time when we worked as vice principal, he was my vice principal at Dudley. We used to solve grade capers with students with discipline when he was part-time. And then to now, sorry, Richard, we're probably gonna get Richard to run out of here tonight. We should have talked about him after you guys approved him, because he may exit. But I just thank Craig for everything he's done, not just professionally, but personally. Craig's the guy that also, if you mention something, he'll just show up. So one day I was gonna prune some trees in my house. Next thing I know, he's showing up with his chainsaw. One time I'm in Tahoe, he's in Tahoe, shows up with his kayaks. So be careful what you ask for with Craig, because he will be there, and usually with a nice cup of coffee. But anyway, thank you, Craig, for everything you've done for me and for the district and the students. And it's been a great run, but I'm really happy for you. You'll enjoy it.
Don't you cry.
I did forget also to mention our new people, and I wanted to make sure I congratulated our promotions, Ron Bione, Christina DeGrange, Kevin Coons, and then new hires, Angelina Cole, Morgan McNeese, Selena Adams, Jennifer Perukin, Jessica Stiles, Suzanne McLaughlin, Brian Gibbons, and Mikkel Jeffrey. Welcome. You're gonna love it here.
Can I keep going?
We are ready.
Well, I wasn't done.
Oh, I'm so
That's
sorry,
okay.
Scott.
I also wanted to just acknowledge, Del Rey, you know, one thing you just said, and it really resonated with me, is we've spent a lot of time thanking our staff, our students, but we have left out our parents. And I think, to me, that is a backbone of what we do, our community around us that supports. So thank you for bringing that up. That just really resonated with me, that and the comment about combing the kids' hair is absolutely correct.
100%, I did it.
Other parents,
I did it.
other parents take care of those that cannot be there. And so I think that we cannot be overlooking that. So thank you for bringing that up, because I agree with you. Without that community of support, we would not be the district that we are.
Very, very important.
And then I just want to, summer school is going very, very well. Appreciate all the staff and folks that are participating in that, and the students. I've been able to get into many of the rooms. It is so awesome to see the kids, students interacting, laughing, joking, enjoying each other. And we missed that over the last 16 months. And then finally, I just want to wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful summer, and take the time that you have. I know July for a lot of us is going to be a nice, relaxing month, because last year we did not get that. And so I encourage everyone to take advantage of that, and even those sitting in the room to take advantage of that. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you're
Report. We talked about Craig, that was all that mattered. Okay, moving on to item number 13, consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. And a second?
Second.
Dr. Reed.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. All right, any conversation, discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none. We'll have a roll call vote. Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson,
Aye.
Mrs. Pope, Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye.
And
Consent
Ms.
agenda
Kelly,
is
before we
approved.
continue, just to acknowledge, I just want to welcome Richard, who just acted to welcome Richard Putnam as our next facilities director. And comes to us from the city, where he worked in the facilities department for many years, also has his contracting license. I think Richard will be a great addition to us. A local individual as well, grew up in Lincoln, actually Auburn, came through, and then has family out in Rio Linda area. So it's kind of funny how it's someone from the outside coming in, but realistically is very familiar with our area. And I want to just acknowledge one thing, and I probably shouldn't, HR isn't here right now, so I can say it, but one of the things that I personally liked about what Richard did when he interviewed was, I think it was Sunday, went around and looked and poked around all of our facilities before his interview. And it was interesting that he could tell us, oh, I see the project going on at Oak Hill. Oh, I see you just pulled a portable out. So I knew at that point, I'm like, that's someone who wants to be with us and wants to be a part of our family. So I wholeheartedly welcome Richard to this role. And I know the district will support him any way, shape, and form to make him successful, because your success is our success. So officially welcome. Looking forward to working with you. Sorry if they scared you about the shoes you're going to have to fill.
We look forward to working with you.
I look forward to working with all of you as well.
Okay, moving on to item number 14, business items. A, comprehensive survey. This is a discussion item. So we would need a motion to bring it to the floor for discussion.
No, she's going to discuss
no,
it.
it's a discussion item. So I brought this forward simply because I want to get a really good picture of what we are surveying people for. I know the past year, there's been a lot of surveys, and I know Trustee Pope was concerned about us over-surveying students. I'm also concerned about identifying any gaps that we might have in our surveying and just making sure that we have a really good, solid plan so that we are getting good response and not overwhelming people, but yet getting the information that we need. So that said, if we can find out from Mr. Lear what we already do as far as regular surveys and then recent surveys.
So this year has been, obviously, these last 16 months, we have surveyed our folks extensively. And with that, I would say, we surveyed recently for our LCAP. We do that every spring where we get that out. This year, we also had the learning ELOP plan. We had to survey families on. Obviously, over the course of the last 16 weeks, we surveyed families. I probably can't even remember all the different surveys we did. But then we also will do our California Healthy Kids survey type. We do not do the California Healthy Kids survey anymore. We use Panorama, which the board had approved, which addresses engagement, connection with school, things of that nature, safety. And then in addition, I know we've done things over CTE, what individuals want. There is a multitude of surveys. What I would suggest is if there's something we want to get at, we look at what tools we currently have and then think about that, because I'll be really honest, towards the end when we were surveying, we did not get a lot of feedback because I think people always joke, like another survey coming out. So we need to be very cognizant of what we survey and when we survey and what we're looking for moving ahead.
So when you say that over the past 16 weeks, you've had so many surveys that you couldn't name them all, what do you remember?
16 months, I'm
16
sorry,
months.
Return to school, what barriers, things like that. All stuff that was related to reopening, returning, things like that.
So when was the last time we did a barriers or return to school type survey? Like not just saying, hey, if you want to change it, but like the actual survey.
Barriers would have been probably back in, Jordan, I'm trying to think, was it Mr. Jordan? Yeah, do you remember? No,
May
please.
5th, we did the learning loss survey where we sent out asking what should we do.
Do you mind coming out, Mike Jordan? Because I don't know if Lee can hear from that far back without the microphone, sorry.
Sorry, on May 10th, we did a learning loss survey where we sent out to all the families, what should we work on moving forward, looking into next year based on the pandemic and not being in school. We got about 79 responses on that.
That's it?
Yes,
Out of 42, 45.
out of, was there 42 and change, I think.
Well, yeah, 4,200 students, but less with some families. And so if we're looking at barriers to return, that would have been one what folks wanted, but we didn't get a lot of response to that. Plus we re-put out LCAP and that kind of overlap because we're looking for what can help improve the environment.
LCAP is annually, ELOP was a one time.
And I have a feeling that Lisa with the ESSER, I'm sure we're gonna have to reach out and create a plan with that too. So I'm sure we'll be surveying on that as well. I guess what I would ask is what are we, if we're trying to find information, I'd want to know what it is, and then we can utilize the tools we have to develop that. If it's a barriers, what's restricting, or how do you feel? We did survey the students at the end of the year with our, what would be equivalent to the California Healthy Kids survey. We'll be able to bring that data forward. We use that our panorama for that. So again, we're open. We just want to know what we would want and where we want to go with it. Because I want to make sure it's something that we would actually utilize moving forward. Because if we're surveying the survey, I think people aren't going to feel as engaged. It would be nice to do something with it.
So on the Healthy Kids survey, that covers like culture and site safety, that sort
Correct.
of stuff, right?
Safety, engagement,
And also-
connectedness.
It covers like, have you smoked, do you drink, how often have you drank, does anyone at home drink, that kind of stuff.
It does not cover that like substance stuff that I'm aware of. I'm trying to think of the question.
The Healthy Kids one does. Healthy Kids survey did.
Healthy Kids survey did, yeah, Aaron didn't go into smoking. That was specific.
And that was related
changed my
because
vote
we had a 2P grant, and so with that tobacco use prevention, so that was one that we would hit that module. We don't have that anymore because it was not worth it.
I don't think they're honest on that anyway.
No.
So if we're looking for engagement, all those pieces, our panorama survey is the one we can get data. The problem we have too is when we put out, and no problem, sorry, Mr. Jordan, because we both did this, but with Google Forms, we get raw data. Panorama, which you guys approved, we can slice it and dice it. Anyway, I know Dr. Lee, you and I spoke a little bit about the other day. If I was to encourage anything, I would go that route. The other piece, and I'm going to give Dr. Lee credit for this, I don't know if I'm going to jump in, but she had the idea, what if we had our panorama consultant come in, give the board a little overview of what it can do. And then and Dr. Lee, you're pretty familiar with it, was they do a 360 survey. You can get the student voice, the staff voice, community voice around social and emotional learning, around safety, connectedness, and then we can take from that bank of questions and assign that survey. Then once it's responded to, I'm not kidding, I can slice it and dice it any way you want. So we can identify subgroups, classifications. That is our plan, that we would like to utilize that more thoroughly. That's why I also am concerned about doing a different one. Since we did purchase this, I would like to go with that route. I just didn't know from this conversation what we were trying to get at, just so I could see if it actually did accomplish that or not.
This conversation in general is what
Okay.
I wanted to, I just want to know what we're surveying, what tools we're using, when we're doing those surveys, and then find out if there's anything more as a board. But I like Dr. Lee's idea of having the consultant come in and, go over what the program does do, or even if not the consultant, even if, Mr. Jordan wants to come in and provide us a brief report of, what kind of things are possible, or whoever it would be.
And we'll be running like our LCAP stuff's all going to be through that, because the way we receive the data, we have to manually adjust it through, there are some tools that drops into spreadsheets, but this creates some really cool, informative glances to look at the data versus, me or Mr. Jordan trying to make fancy Excel spreadsheets. And not that we can't, but it's
why
like,
should you have to when
it's
there's tools out
extremely efficient. So if the board wants to continue, I can reach out.
Is this something that really needs to be brought to the board in an open session? Couldn't this just be a conversation with you, Mr. Doherty, Mr. Lair, and then you can figure out what you're looking for and then bring it to the board and say, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want. But to sit there and hash and talk about this takes a lot of time, and we have people that work all day. That's my opinion.
I've only cursorily looked at Panorama, and that like Mr. Lair was mentioning, when I saw the different things that the different question banks, the 360 survey is something that looks really promising and something that would be informative for me as a board member, and I think for just the community in general, because it's going to take the student, the teacher and staff and faculty and community around whatever topics that we're interested in, like their perceptions of the implementation of MTSS or equity and inclusion or SEL. I mean, you can include elements from each part. And so that's why I was kind of mentioning that maybe we should get a rep in to speak with us to really talk about the 360 survey and how that could be rolled out in like best practice around it. Because I know for one thing, timing of that survey is something that's important. You don't want to do it at the beginning of a year when students haven't even had time to be in a climate, yet. So I'd really like to get their guidance on that, because they are the ones who've made these surveys, which are nationally normed, and they work with districts and schools around it all the time. It looks like, I mean, from the cursory look I've done to it. And I'm just curious about, how can that 360 survey, be designed so that we're getting data points from all our different constituents on these different topics. MTSS, equity, inclusion, SEL, specifically were ones that stood out for me.
And that's a thank you, Dr. Lee, for pointing that. The other piece that's valuable is that it's nationally normed. So those questions are given across the United States. We can then compare our district. You can even look at comparable districts, and so you can start norming where you fall within that. And I just looked at Mike. We could definitely get, if that's the will of the board, or we can meet with a smaller group. I mean, Kelly, I'm happy to meet with you and the rep, and whatever you guys want to do. I think it would be good information. I think doing something right now, timing would be, we wouldn't get the results that we want. I think if we could figure out a time that would be better, certainly once school gets started, if we're going with the SEL piece, or any of the connectedness, because right now I can tell you kids aren't connected because they don't feel they've really been a part of it.
Yeah, and I think parents are burnt out. People are just fizzled. They just want to breathe.
Yeah.
That's why I think that getting someone in to speak with us, like in our August or September meeting, would be really informative for everyone to know what we're up to, why we're doing it, and what is it. I mean, I think it's something that if you want stakeholders to be involved, you should really inform them about it. That's part of the informing piece of that.
A lot of those survey questions too are asked in such a way that they get the answer they want. They're not asked in a way that people can respond with their.
And that's what's nice about this company, because it's research based. They put it to the test. They really do go through. So to me, if that works for you, I'm happy to reach out to the rep, see if they could come and do a 10-minute overview, see if you have any questions. At least then you guys would be informed. Then we could come back and say, okay, now we've looked at what this can do. Hey, Scott, team, what can we do with it? And then get that data. I mean,
Perfect.
if that works for people, does that work?
Yeah.
Mr. Bruno? So we'll just for my clarity, we'll look at September class, either August or September meeting to bring in the rep.
Thank you. All right, item B, declaration of need for fully qualified educators, Department of Education and the Commissioner on Teacher Credentialing regulations for the issuance of emergency teaching credentials require that individual districts submit a declaration of need for fully qualified educators each year for any anticipated certificated positions that may need to be filled with an individual holding an emergency credential.
Motion to bring to the floor.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion?
Just to share, this is a routine annual document that we bring. At this time, we're not anticipating any emergency permits being needed, but this document does allow us, if it arises, we do have some vacancies that have occurred in some hard to fill spots. So this would give us flexibility after we've looked at fully credentialed interns and you go down the line. So this is just an opportunity for us, if we so chose down the road, to be able to try and fill that position.
Okay. Further discussion, questions? Roll call vote. Dr. Lee, sorry.
Aye.
And Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Bruno?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Item 14C is local control and accountability plan, LCAP, and annual update. We have a motion
So moved.
and a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson and Mrs. Pope. Do we have any discussion on it?
No, just we appreciated the opportunity to share last time. We don't have presentations because nothing had really changed significantly. The one I just wanted to share is, and I did share with the board individually, that we will be looking at bringing in also at each of our elementaries a music and physical education teacher that will allow for students to participate in those activities throughout the school day. It won't be daily, but it will create schedules for that to happen. The other fun thing that I like is we will also be able to, hopefully with a music teacher, offer some sort of band or choir before after school. And based off the conversation we had about start times and things like that, if we could do something before school, that would give more kids an opportunity to participate and also help mom or dad or grandma, grandparent in getting their kid to school a little bit earlier since our start times had adjusted.
I have about 100 comments, questions that are none of them relevant to the approval of this LCAP, and I will bring them up further with Mr. Lear. I did want to make a note of one, I don't know, just this one thing kind of stood out to me. I thought it was kind of interesting on, get the right page here, sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Where's the A to G thing? I'm on the wrong page. Okay, well, I'll just go by memory. So basically what I noted was that on the A to G registration, we have disaggregated data. But on the A to G completion, we have whatever it's called, the opposite of disaggregated. Aggregated data, sorry. Sometimes with my words. But I also noted that in the disaggregated data that the races or the groups that are not achieving at the same percentage of the student population are white, Hispanic, and Filipino, which I thought was kind of interesting, in that Blacks were exceeding their percentile, and some of the Asian groups were way exceeding their percentiles, and you know, even the smaller groups like the Native Americans and Pacific Islanders were also achieving above. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's different than what you normally expect to see. And so I really appreciated getting the disaggregated data, and I hope that we can see more and more of that in the future. So
You will.
it's really useful. Even though we want all the kids to get their A to G, it's nice to see where there might be gaps.
Absolutely.
There we go. That's all. We have a motion to approve and a second. Do we have any other discussion or questions? Roll call vote. Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. Polk? Aye. Mr. Bruno?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number D is the budget. We have a motion to approve.
All motion.
Great. Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bruno and Mrs. Polk, thank you. And do you have any discussion or questions?
The only discussion I'll do is this is the only time I'm happy to present the budget to you and give my presentation. That is my presentation. So I think Ms. Coronado did an outstanding job at the public hearing, so I thank her for that. And we don't have anything else unless there's questions that came up after that public hearing last week. Did I do okay?
Any questions, comments?
Lisa, you always do a fantastic job.
Thank you for saying that.
I know in the beginning, you know, you were brand new to it and everything, but you have risen to the occasion and have done a great job all the way through. So thank you for that. I know you put in long, hard hours.
It's nice of you to say.
Further? All right, roll call vote. Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. Polk? Aye. Mr. Bruno?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item 15, advanced planning, future meeting dates. The next regular meeting will be Wednesday, August 18th, and here in this room. And we made suggested agenda items.
I do. I would like to discuss and possibly have an action item on the mask issue, the wearing of masks within the district. I heard Ms. Truix, and I think we should give some discussion to that.
there's some public comment, I like that.
Yes, it is.
I agree. I was actually going to suggest the same thing, so.
I
So-
thought of it when she was talking, but I didn't write it down.
I agree also. It's getting out of hand.
So the idea of discussion on mask wearing, update on what the current guidance is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, and if we could make it an action item, but with no specific action identified, then that leaves it open like we did before
Yes,
for the board to make a potential motion.
I agree.
That would be great. Anything else?
I would like to have a discussion and also an open-ended action, just regarding our meeting format.
I was gonna suggest
So,
in-person meetings.
Just kind of thinking out loud, we've got kids returning to school August 3rd. The heat's gonna be over 100 for who knows how many days. And we're gonna expect them to wear masks. Does anybody have a problem with that?
It's not an actionable item, but maybe we do need to look at the guidance that I mean, it's a more complicated issue than just yes or no tonight, so.
And it's not something that we can discuss tonight
Correct.
either.
Correct.
I would love to, because
Can I
I know,
back,
I just see it.
can I go back to, when you say meeting format, I'll just organize it as meeting format with discussion and then possible action?
We may end up having a special meeting to talk about that because I can see kids having health issues like heat stroke and stuff, trying to wear masks in the heat.
do we want to have a special meeting in advance of school starting?
Not in July.
No.
I'm not here in
school
July.
starts August 3rd. And our
August
first,
3rd is when school starts, correct?
August 4th.
August 4th, so we could potentially have a
We could
meeting
do
within
a
a couple of
Zoom
days.
meeting if we want. Would that work for you, Lee? Like a Zoom special board meeting?
I'm not available in July.
Well, but we could do the first week of August. Our normal meeting is the third week, so we could do a first week of August.
If we
special
need to,
meeting.
let's see what, happens between now and then. They may do away with masks altogether.
They might. Currently, they're not.
Currently, they're not, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
The new guidance that came out. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to discuss it, but the guidance is what we are.
So we can talk about that.
As we start getting closer to the new school year, we'll worry about it. We'll see where we stand.
And I just want to make sure that it's noted for a future meeting to have a consultant or representative from Panorama to come in and speak with us. Just putting that in there too.
Great, thank you, Lee.
Any other agenda items for future meetings?
Oh, sorry. I just want to clarify specifically regarding a 360 survey, not just a general survey, but a 360 survey. It's a very specific format.
And the board will not continue closed session. Do we have a motion?
Motion
To,
adjourn
yeah,
at
and a second,
7:00.
I'll second.
and Mr. Bruno, roll call vote. Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson,
Aye.
Ms. Pope,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno, and the
Aye.
chair votes aye. Good night, everybody.